Radical ideas to counter the Trump administration appear to be gaining traction among some Democrats. One New York state senator is even floating the idea of having New York withhold federal taxes and then the Empire State seceding to join Canada. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn is live with more. There's about as much chance of that as a pink unicorn leading the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow.
Hey, hello, John. Good morning. Well, it's a defiant plan against President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan. Succeed and join our neighbor to the north. That is exactly what Manhattan liberal Democrat State Senator Liz Krueger is proposing, that the Empire State and fellow blue northeastern states leave the U.S. and join Canada to protest Trump's plan. She said this back in September before the election, quote, "Instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, which is pretty hard because there's lots of us, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont would combine and be a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada. Basically, everybody in these states are progressive Democrats who would fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials." Well, in a new interview with Politico, State Senator Krueger, who chairs the powerful State Senate Finance Committee, also says that her state and the others should stop sending tax money to the federal government as part of their protest. New York State's controller says that the Empire State sends more than $361 billion a year, or provides 6.5% of the whole federal budget. But incoming Trump border czar Tom Homan says nothing will stop them.
So those people who say they're going to stop us from what they're doing, they will not. I'm going to do this job. Men and women of ICE are going to do this job. You're not going to stop us. But let me give you a word of advice. If you impede us, there's going to be consequences. You cannot help us.
Well, I talked to State Senator Krueger's office this morning to request an interview, but so far, John, we have not heard back.
This is the Nation's Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. A Democrat in New York State, a senator, has floated the idea of that state seceding from the United States to join Canada. Of course, all to avoid President-elect Donald Trump's return to office. And if you think it's awfully quiet right now, if you think that there isn't something big brewing, something big coming, it is. Do not take this silence as if the Democrats are conceding to everything that's going on. All it takes is one major false flag. All it takes is one psyop after the next psyop, like Donald Trump starting to ban abortions in certain states and things like that, to start seeing story after story after story like this start coming to fruition. Because it does all sound like a crazy theory. The guy on Fox News, of course, was laughing at it and dismissing it off like there's no chance it would ever happen. But you might recall months ago, Texas was throwing that idea out there, saying that, hey, if we don't get support at the border, we're going to secede from the union. We're going to no longer be a part of the federal government. That was a narrative that was out there for conservatives. And we've been getting trained with this and conditioned with this for 10 years plus now. We've already seen all of the conditioning, all the predictive programming they've done with movies about civil war. But have you noticed this red state, blue state conditioning that's been going on? Because if you haven't been paying attention, they've literally been telling us and training us into looking at states based on their political affiliation. For example, flip states like Florida are now looked at as safe havens for conservatives. During the outbreak, we saw all the conservatives who flocked down to Florida because they didn't want mandates shoved down their throats anymore. We see the same thing with insane blue states, right? Hey, you want to kill your child? You want to kill a baby? Come to California. We promise we'll let you do it here. But if it's a conservative state, well, you won't be allowed to do it there. Then, of course, convincing the sheeple out there, the brain dead people out there, into thinking that this is something to do with a woman's body and a woman's right to choose. They've been conditioning us for this for a while, and it is coming. I've talked about this for a long time. Red and blue states, states that have different laws versus other states that have different laws, laws that will appease to certain people. They'll use things like immigration. They'll use things like abortion. They'll use things like trans and gay rights. They'll use things like curriculum in the school to start herding people around. And it may be happening sooner than later, because this is something that is likely going to occur during Donald Trump's regime, his reign, along with Project 2025. They're going to continue to make things seem like they're worse for Democrats now, kind of like they did for Republicans for the last 4 years, where Republicans were getting all of their rights taken away from them. Now Democrats will start to feel like their rights are getting taken away. And you literally have a senator coming out and saying that states like New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts and Vermont should combine and become a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada, so that they should succeed America and join Canada. And for those of you that don't know, the plan all along was to have a North American Union. This has been part of the blueprint, to combine Mexico, America, and Canada as one, as the North American Union. And they're beginning to show us their signs that this could be coming. Because remember, their motto is the phoenix rising from the ashes. They have to bring everything down. Everything has to come crashing down first in order for them to do these things. And one way they can do that is just what you heard there, right? Suddenly we hear senators talking about withholding taxes from the federal government, thus potentially bankrupting the federal government. Now, we know that that's all obviously just hearsay type of talk, because the federal government can't really go broke. They print money, right? It's only me and you who can actually go broke. But if they have the illusion that the federal government can no longer function because certain Democratic states are not paying taxes to the federal government, well, then it gives the government more excuses to raise prices, to pretty much price you out of the housing market, to create more inflation and more chaos. And that's the name of the game. You may remember the movie Civil War that came out in 2024. I did a couple of videos on it, which are available now on the website. They've long been removed. But in that movie, they even had this map where they showed us the loyalist states, the Florida Alliance, the Second Republic of Texas, the Republic of California, and the Western forces, okay? This is stuff they've been subliminally programming us with for a while. And if you don't realize it, think about it. Think about what we think of now versus what we thought 20 years ago. Did you ever think 20 years ago, oh my goodness, I would never go to California because it's a Democratic state? You'd say, I don't care if Dems live there. It's beautiful in California. I want to go see some of the beautiful sights, some of the beautiful national parks and everything else. Oh, I don't care what the governor's identifies as a Democrat or a Republican. It means nothing to me. Well, now conservative people with conservative ideologies won't step foot in states like California. Your people are fleeing states based on political affiliation, and we've gotten conditioned into thinking that this is normal. They're training us and preparing us for this. All the stuff with Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how we need red and blue states and how civil war is coming. Even the New York Times just had an article. Shouldn't Trump voters be viewed as traitors? The magazine's columnist on whether voters should be held accountable for their chosen candidates' behavior. They're using these puppets, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama. They're using these puppets as the orchestrators for our civil unrest and our civil division, and to cause civil upheaval among us, and nobody's paying attention to it. They're too busy hating people based on who they vote for. And don't even get me started, as most of you know, on the people who find out that people like us don't believe in the left or the right, that don't believe or support Republicans or Democrats, because their head explodes. It's like the scene from Scanners. Their heads literally explode when you try to explain to them that none of it's real and that it's an illusion. And it's how it keeps people stuck inside of the matrix, the illusion of freedom, the illusion that you're empowering these people, that you still have free will and you're still making the selection. I think one of the most comical things about everything we've seen over the last 8 years or so is the government's creation of Q, and how from that movement, a lot of people have woken up to a lot of things that were once deemed conspiracies. You can look at a lot of the stuff going on underground. You can look at a lot of these people getting exposed for being involved in these rings. These are all things that are true and have been going on. But it's amazing that these people who are waking up to the deep state and now constantly are calling out the deep state, as they like to call it, but they think that the existence of these people is real, that it's not a conspiracy. However, these people who control so much, who control all the media, still allow you to vote and decide who's going to be the president of the United States of America, who's going to be the president of the free world. Isn't that something? I mean, it's hilarious that they can think all of these things, yet they think that still they can't rig elections. Well, they can rig elections, but I mean, the election itself isn't real. There's nothing to rig because your vote doesn't count. And they've already predetermined who is going to be put in office. And then they play games with you like they do every 4 years or so into making you think that this one's going to win versus that one's going to win. They pull the rug out from underneath people. They convince people that it's rigged, but they never convince people because they'll never tell people that it's not real in the first place. So it is so important to have this specific character, Donald Trump, in the position that he's in now. The other thing to watch with Trump in this position and hearing these stories about states withholding taxes from the federal government is AI governance, because they're going to take the human element out of this. That's part of what this game is. The human element has to be removed. And of course, by design, they've made people know every single person in Congress. They're all on television talk shows every single night. And if it's a member of your party, your team that you vote for, you love them, right? The conservatives love Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz. When the Democrats see them, they cringe. They loathe them. They detest the ground that they walk on, all done by design to make each side have distrust with the human aspect of government. But don't worry, because Elon Musk and Donald Trump are here, and they're going to remove that human aspect of government, and you're going to say, good riddance. We don't need these people anywhere. They're going to withhold taxes. I won't allow it. Well, with AI governance, automatically your taxes are going to be deducted with a digital ID. Automatically, your taxes are going to go through algorithms inside of the government so that you know where your money is getting spent. And you're going to think this is all in the benefit of humanity, of course, because you're going to get duped. And you're going to get duped because they've deliberately, psychologically caused all of this chaos over the last 8 years, making people so unhinged and so angry at the opposite political party, they're not even going to be seeing how the New World Order is being formed and structured right in front of their faces. So the fact that we have a Democrat from New York who's proposing a succession to join Canada, I mean, isn't this like the definition of treason, that we have supposed elected officials and they're allowed to go out and say things like this? Like, hey, we won't pay our federal taxes in New York anymore. And we're recommending Connecticut does it and Vermont does. I mean, don't you think the government would arrest these people based on that? I mean, if a regular civilian comes out and says, I refuse to pay my taxes, well, they try to come after you, don't they? They try to come after you because there's certain things you can and cannot do when it comes to taxes. You can't refuse to outright pay them. You could probably send the government $1 a year for the rest of your life and say, look, I tried to pay. But if you come out and you say, I'm going to withhold the funds of an entire state, you would think that these people would be arrested. But they're not going to be arrested because that's the point. The point is to get these narratives out there and condition you into wanting these narratives. And the crazy part is it works, because now the Democrats who are sitting back and waiting to see what happens next with their popcorn in one hand and their mask in the other, they're saying to themselves, well, is there a plan to get out of this? Is there something we can do? And they're saying, yeah, there is. What if we succeed the union? What if we don't pay our taxes anymore to the federal government and we bankrupt the federal government? And they'll think this is a great idea. And Republicans would be doing the same thing had they put Kamala Harris in as the president, right? And that's the point. Sabotage to bring the entire thing down. But don't think for 1 second that you won't be paying taxes in the future. Don't think for 1 second this nonsense with Elon Musk talking about auditing the IRS as if you're not going to pay taxes in the future. These are all things they're doing to bait you in, to get you on their side, to get you to pump your fist in the air and just say, yes, finally. Because obviously nobody naturally should want to pay their taxes. But if you think that's where it's headed, you're wrong. Because this is everything to do with equal income. The DEI stuff they claim that they're getting rid of is the same exact thing as the equal income. Everyone will be making equal income. Universal basic income is what it's called. And your money will be deducted out of your account. And you'll pay tax on your allowance. And you'll pay tax mainly on your carbon emissions, because that's what will be the most important thing, your carbon tax. Not because they need to make money off of it, because your carbon tax is your prison time. You're allowed a little bit of time out of your prison, which is the home that you're in now, wherever you are when all this goes down. And of course, it's filled with all the smart technology that you don't realize is there to watch you and monitor you and lock you in. And then, of course, the carbon tax will be so that you can't go outside and you can't go to the grocery store and you can't go see grandma when she's on her deathbed, because you're allotted a certain amount of time that you could come and go from your residence, aka prison. But there are lots of things that are coming that are like circulating around right now, and it's quiet right this moment, right? Everybody can feel it's been quiet since the fake election, but I think deep down everybody feels like something is coming, and there's all these rumors of war always circulating around us with Russia, with China, with the stuff in the Middle East, and now we need to see how that plays out, because all it's going to take is one event in America, whether it's even just something with the borders, where suddenly they start showing you on the news people getting ripped out of their homes, right? Because remember, the news is scripted. It's a simulation. So suddenly the news sways in the other direction, right? Now the news is showing all these people who are Mexican in their home with their families getting ripped out of their homes and thrown in a bus and taken across the border. And suddenly people will get gaslit and people will get unhinged. And we'll start hearing more and more about how states are going to refuse to pay their federal taxes to the federal government and are going to look to succeed the United States of America, because of course you can't have a North American Union when you have Canada, America, and Mexico. It all has to merge together as one. And the only way to do that is to bring America to its knees via sabotage. So when you hear stories like this, they might try to tell you that, this is a crazy idea. This is a ridiculous idea. That's how this always works. And you hear it over and over and over again. Then you start saying to yourself, I guess it's not really a ridiculous idea. They keep talking about it. They're conditioning you with these things. The news is not to inform you. It's to condition you. And the blueprint that's in place to bring America to its knees, guess what? Donald Trump is not here to save America. He has been put in place as the one who is going to help bring America to its knees. And states are going to start opposing the federal government. And it's going to happen and have a domino effect, one after the other. And you already know, because you've been conditioned into knowing what states are conservative states and what states are Democrat states. They've been conditioning you with that. Everybody knows, okay, well, wait a minute. There's going to be states that are going to leave the union. Take a guess which ones will leave. The Democrat states will leave, right? If the conservatives are the ones in power, and it would have worked the opposite way had they put a Democrat in. Okay, so the first thing, there goes California. There goes New York. There goes Illinois. There they go, there they go, there they go. Trained and conditioned for something bigger to come. And that bigger thing that's coming is America going down on its knees, all in the name of sabotage. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.